continues to tell me that regardless of what I see, and even as Louise stood up and said, your storm is not what it seems. We'll see in the scriptures in a few moments the proof of that. Because so much of what we find ourselves in, we many, many times don't feel liberated by it. We feel trapped by it. We wonder when that restriction is going to leave. Through the open heart surgery that Vivian had, I knew from the outset, which while the surgery took place on June 25th, the trial of the surgery started much earlier in the year, because we had already seen the doctor over the course of months preceding that, and his prognosis wasn't 100% encouraging, because he led us to believe each and every time we saw him that things were not getting better. And the trial that you face in your own understanding is, but wait a minute, I'm praying in faith, and it seems to be going in the other direction. And so we fought the good fight of faith, believing that our life was not our own. And so whatever it was we were experiencing in the natural, it hadn't eluded God's attention, and certainly he knew what was going to take place. At no time did I feel that she was needed in heaven. I felt like she was still needed here, and certainly the one chief among those who needed her was me. I'm not complete without her. And so I knew in those months that we waited. And I'm one of those typical Americans in the natural. I do not enjoy waiting. It's not one of the major points of identification in my portfolio. He's a good waiter. I'm a bad waiter. I don't like waiting.
Especially when they told us what would happen if we waited too long.
Right, and of course, yeah, they said, and if you don't get this taken care of, one of three things will happen. You'll have a stroke, you will have a heart attack, or sudden death. And I thought, wow, is there anything positive you could say in the midst of that?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm trying to work through these things, but my spirit kept rising, because my faith was not in what I could see. My faith was in who I knew, and He's always been faithful.
Yes. That's
right.
He's never left us. And so even in the midst of what for us was not a little storm, it was a major storm. And we watched the clock tick by and wondering what the challenges of each day would bring. And yet when we woke up each day, we recognized that the scripture is true. This is the day the Lord has made, and our response to that is we'll choose to rejoice.
That's right.
And be glad in it. So we rejoiced, and He was faithful. Our story may not be the same as every other person's story, but the life is not in the story. Life is in Jesus.
That's right.
This for us in the temporary life in which we live, and I thought the temporary, when I would hear older people talk about it when I was 25, I thought, well, you talk about it because you're old, but I'm going to live forever because I'm 25. And then somewhere along the line, I got from 25 to 77, and I don't know when that occurred. I think it was just yesterday. But in the course of that, I recognized that it's not the age. It's not the age or the years. It's the trust. Because He's faithful.
That's right.
He's faithful. And I think that that's the message that we need to really take into our hearts and say, God, it isn't really about me, is it? It's about you, and you're faithful. And I just wanted Matt to be playing in the background as these words scroll through. That something goes into our hearts this morning, because Pastor Vivian mentioned the word suddenly. Even before she said that, I heard the Lord say, understand that I am a God of moments, and I'm a God of movements. But they're not always according to your plan. But they will never escape my plan. Things happen. We can look back and say it's over the course of years, but how many of you have any length of time that you've been on the earth recognize that years are just a collection of moments? And sometimes we go into a moment and we don't really even know what the next moment will hold. And so we may enter those moments with a sense of uncertainty, at the very least, an unsettling. But we never have to enter those moments faithless. Pastor David Shadd says something often. Our pastor in Ridgecrest, I don't know if it's his original words, but I do like what he repeats. He said, faith will take you where reason and doubt cannot go. And I just recognize in the course of our lives, we need to remember that. Because we're on a faith walk. We need to remind ourselves that time is a collection of moments. And many, many times those moments include movements. I don't want to get ahead of myself this morning. Matt, you're doing such an excellent job that I'll just stay here and you guys can do whatever you want. Just kidding. I'll let you stop for right now, Matt. But I hope that you think about what has taken place this morning, because nothing has been disconnected. Every part of what you've received this morning has been God's encouragement to you that He's still in charge. So, along with that, this is what I want to share with you this morning.